don't want to miss it. This is Farming Forward.
Arnott Gardens are back in a familiar top 2 position in the standings and look to keep pace with the high-flying Mount Pleasant. But they come up against a racing team in a good run of form and racing towards a playoff spot. It could get heated in the jungle for this edition of Monday Match Night. It's 2nd versus 7th in a battle of 2 talented outfits, Monday, March 10. See it happen on CVM TV starting at 7:45 p.m.
Monday Match Night, powered by Sunshine Snacks and ABC Electrical.
On Tuesday, Favour Williams is set to create history, the first woman to present a budget speech in the budget debate, and the first woman to do so as a finance minister. Well, she's the first woman finance minister, of course. Portia Simpson Miller, the first Prime Minister to present in the budget debate. But beyond Favour Williams' personal milestone, what will she say substantively that will benefit all Jamaicans, especially those who run business, especially the small business operators, those in the micro and small medium enterprise sector? What will be in the budget for them? Those are the questions we intend to ask our guests this evening on Lead Story as the budget debate for the 25-26 fiscal year gets set to get underway on Tuesday. Well, in case you've been under a rock, and even if you've been under a rock, you would know that it is an election year, and there are some people wondering, nervous, if the budget to be presented by the finance minister will have something in it for the run-with-it aspect of our politics. Will she open the thread bag up to help the party that's ruling now, the JLP, win the next election, or will fiscal prudence, fiscal responsibility, fiscal good sense be the order of the day as she outlines the government's spending plans for the 25-26 fiscal year? What we've done today, we've went to the streets and we asked Jamaicans what it is that they're expecting in the budget. But just before that, we have the usual scene setter as we look to hear the opening speech in that budget debate from Tuesday from the Finance Minister, Favour Williams.
The highly anticipated national budget presentation for the fiscal year 2025 to 2026 starts March 11, 2025, marking a significant milestone for Jamaica's new Finance Minister, Favour Williams. This will be her maiden budget presentation following the departure of former Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, who took a new position at the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The governing Jamaica Labour Party says it has been riding on a platform of fiscal responsibility and a promise of no new taxes, a key pledge that has been a cornerstone of its campaign during its almost 9 years in office, as the general election is constitutionally due before September 3. As Minister Williams steps into the role, observers and stakeholders are closely watching to see if this commitment remains a focal point in the upcoming budget. The presentation, which will outline the government's financial priorities, allocation of funds, and projections for key sectors such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure, will also be a critical test of Williams' leadership in managing the nation's finances. The budget comes at a time when many Jamaicans are keenly aware of the high cost of living pressures, with inflation impacting households across the island. The government's ability to balance its promise of no new taxes with the need for social and economic support will be a subject of intense scrutiny as the fiscal year begins. The budget will also likely include measures to strengthen Jamaica's financial stability, with a focus on debt reduction, fiscal discipline, and strategic investment in key sectors. The presentation will be delivered in Parliament tomorrow, and the nation awaits the full details of the government's spending plans and priorities for the upcoming year. Minister Williams will be followed 2 days later by her opposition counterpart, Julian Robinson, on March 13, who will provide a criticism of the government's expenditure program and give some insights into his People's National Party's PNP alternative budget. The following week, opposition leader Mark Golding will speak on March 18, and Prime Minister Andrew Holness will present on March 20. The debate will conclude with Minister Williams' closing remarks on March 25. Courtney Lewis for Lead Story.
Thank you, Courtney. After the break, the leaders of two of the most important representative groups in the country.
Join my private room. Only $1,000 for a grand time.
That I know me. We never said that. But who going to believe me?
That is correct. $4,350,000. Yes, go ahead. $4 million? I never approved that.
Yes, me go doctor tomorrow. So me have to get the money today, no longer. Then no me face that. We never make no record or beg nobody no money.
Deepfakes are AI-generated images and videos made to look and sound like people we know and trust. They're used to spread misinformation, destroy reputations, and are used to commit fraud and scams. Don't fall victim to deepfakes. Protect yourself. For more information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or scan the QR code on screen.
Rise with sunrise. Let Miss Kitty and Dennis take over your Tuesday. We'll get things going with your morning checkup. Then it's off to the kitchen and breakfast is served. We'll get into some chess action, checkmate. Then we'll wrap your morning with sunrise pressures. You've never seen a sunrise quite like this.
Sad life for all government workers who are owed retroactive salaries to be paid. And that I'm hoping should be included in the budget that will be read tomorrow. Yes.
Well, my expectation is very simple. No new taxes, and I hope that there's no budgetary cuts. So certain programs that they have are funding already, they're not going to say, hey, we have to cut back on it. Because ultimately what happens that once it's a cut, it affects me and the next person who is in that field or department or government agency.
The health sector, it is in horrible condition, and they need to put that as first priority.
They've said so far that we have less loans to pay out this year. So my expectation is that some of what they started this fiscal year will carry over, especially like the Project Spark. So I expect a basic rollout of issues surrounding salaries to continue in terms of the raising of the salaries, the annual raising, and I expect a little bit a provision for the general elections.
I don't really have any expectations, because honestly, that money will not be spent in my community. I don't even have a road for walk on. I bear dust. The little pit them have to take off them shoes, go to the bus stop in a slippers. When them reach bus stop, them have to clean up them shoes to go on the bus to look presentable. I don't even have road for walk on. I don't have a road for drive on. I have a vehicle. You don't want to see it look. I don't have no road.
Bread and butter issues for many, the order of the day as Favour Williams gets set to open the budget debate on Tuesday. The first woman finance minister in the country's history, the first time a woman will be opening the budget, and of course she'll close it in the upcoming weeks. We have with us, well, I have with me, Garnet Reed is the president of the Small Business Association of Jamaica, a well-known businessman, and beside him is the lovely Antoinette Hamilton. She is the head of the Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise Alliance, the MSME Alliance. And believe me, I did not misspeak when I said these two, this lady, this gentleman, they represent two of the most important sectors in any country. Small businesses, the countries run on the efforts of small businesses, and they are here. We're keen to hear from them. Welcome to Lead Story to you both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Small business is the engine of growth.
That it is.
We provide hundreds of thousands of employment for Jamaican people, especially in the small business field.
Yeah.
We give the government billions of dollars.
In taxes.
And therefore we are a group that need to look on very carefully.
Absolutely so.
My expectation, though, for the budget, I expect no new taxes for 9 years.
Yes.
I expect that the minister will talk about roads for the farmers. I've been getting a lot of complaint about farmers cannot bring their produce to market because of bad farm roads.
Yes.
That is number one. We get a lot of complaint about that. We also get complaint about the allocation for the $1,000 to travel overseas. I would love the minister if she could increase it for $2,000.
The duty allowance?
The duty allowance. Increase it to $2,000 so that small business operator who go abroad, Florida, to buy their goods can come back and make an honest living. I expect the government to also address the high energy costs. Energy in Jamaica, George, is the highest in the world.
Light bill will kill you.
Light bill it's terrible. And it's not helping the small and medium-sized enterprises. But the bill is high. And then you need energy because you have to come in manufacturing for shampoo, soap, and the list goes on. So she needs to look on that very, very carefully. I understand, though, that they want to go into full details, but understand that the contract with JPS has to be expired.
It's up for renewal.
And Minister, I'm going to ask you, through the Minister of Energy, to look into that contract very carefully.
Those negotiations are set to start in July. Anthony, let me ask you, right off the bat, what is it that you want to hear more than anything else tomorrow?
Well, more than anything else, we want to learn about the tax reforms that we have been advocating for. In fact, we have been advocating for tax exemption for the first 2 years of operations for newly registered companies. So that's exemption from corporate income tax.
Companies of what size?
Well, once you're new, you're in the micro.
Doesn't matter the size?
Well, micro, small, and medium doesn't. Well, once you're new, you're pretty much in the micro. So you're startup. So you really don't have much activity already. So what we're saying is exemption from corporate income tax for 2 years. That we believe will help to stimulate the economy. It will remove the perception that many of our businesses that are outside of the formal system has, that the tax man is going to take all of my money. And so that is something that we're looking forward to. Additionally, we talk about seed funding and startup capital for our micro and small entities. These are the entities that are more susceptible to failure because when you look at the financial system, they do not meet some of the requirements. They don't have the 2 years financials because they're startups. They don't have the TCC. You know, they may have it because they just start, but
and she means tax compliance certificate, the TCC.
Right, the tax compliance, thank you. So there are restrictions in how fast they can grow and how much they can contribute to the economy. So we need amounts to be set aside for startups, specifically seed funding, and we can look at other methods. I think there was one that was thrown out about diaspora fund. So that is something that we're really looking forward to. And in fact, Mr. Reed spoke about the farmers. There was 1.2 billion that was allocated last budget for productivity incentive for farmers. And so we'd want to know where that project is, how many farmers has benefited, and what else will be done for the other sectors outside of agriculture.
You know, but just before we go to the break, Garnet, to pick up on the point that both yourself and Antoinette share, I saw a video of a pineapple farmer in a pickup in the Blue Mountain, well, in the hills somewhere, going to the farm gate to collect the thing to bring it to a place where the farmers could get it. Suppose you say the road.
I know.
And then the ordeal that the vehicle had to. It was heartbreaking. And I'm saying you have to do all. And then when man come and want ball on price for your pine after all that.
I have a member, you see, who used to be in the sorrel business.
Yes.
And used to grow tons of sorrel and sell it to some of the big juice company.
Yes.
He had to close.
Yes.
I said, why you close? He said, Mr. Reed, I have no roads. I cannot bring my produce to market. And now he's at our office now and he's going into another business. Another thing I want to say, I am hoping that the minister will talk about economic growth and infrastructure.
Yes.
We need to look about our infrastructure, and that's very, very serious.
Yes. I want to ask you about procurement because it's a big issue for big businesses, huge businesses, small businesses and tiny businesses. How important is it for you to hear the finance minister say something on Tuesday that deals with the issue of public procurement, making it easier?
Extremely important, and we're happy that as the MSME Alliance, we're a part of that process in terms of stakeholder consultation. And so some of the recommended changes, we are very receptive of them and we're looking forward to their implementation. Procurement is extremely important because what it does, it removes some of the red tapes that are in the public sector that prevents access to certain benefits, whether it be contracts for MSMEs, and also putting into that procurement policies that are favorable to the MSME sector. So there are currently, and that is going to come out in the new policy, the procurement policy, there are going to be projects and spend that are specifically set aside for MSMEs, and that is something that we appreciate, and we're looking forward to its implementation.
I wanted to do some group thing, but in terms of the dragging down of the cost of energy, there's hardly likely to be any announcement of any big project that will be implemented at the start of the fiscal year that will redound to your benefit within the fiscal year, because these projects are huge. But what in the immediate term can the minister do for people struggling with high light bills as they go into the productive activities? Is it a tax credit, something tangible? Because the big overall thing that you need to drag energy down won't happen in one fiscal year. But what are you envisaging?
Well, I understand that some time ago they have reduced the GCT of tax on electricity.
For business customers.
Just for business customers.
So you want you'd like to see that reduced further?
Yes, that is correct. That's the main thing, because of course, energy play a very important role in any development in any country. And so I'd really like to see that.
I have to take the break and come on. So hold it right there, hold that point. This is Lead Story, talking about the things that the small, micro, medium-sized enterprises want to see in the budget discussed by the finance minister when she opens that budget debate on Tuesday. We've heard a lot, much more after the break.
SuperMed Family of Pharmacies, your trusted partner in health and wellness for over 30 years. With 8 convenient pharmacies across Eastern Jamaica. SuperMed Mall Pharmacy, SuperMed New Kingston, SuperMed Pepin, SuperMed Port Antonio Pharmacies 1 and 2, Claire's St. Mary, Lloyd's St. Thomas, and a convenient drive-through at our Hughenden location where you can get your medication without leaving your car. We're dedicated to providing you with the highest level of care. Experience the difference with SuperMed Family of Pharmacies. Super happy, super healthy.
And you go down and have a good day. Blessing. SuperMed.
Arnett Gardens are back in a familiar top 2 position in the standings and look to keep pace with the high-flying Mount Pleasant. But they come up against a racing team in a good run of form and racing towards a playoff spot. It could get heated in the jungle for this edition of Monday Match Night. It's 2nd versus 7th in a battle of 2 talented outfits, Monday, March 10. See It Happen on CVM TV starting at 7:45 p.m.
Monday Match Night, powered by Sunshine Snacks and ABC Electrical.
When I read for my degree in business and management many years ago at the University of Technology, when they told us that small business is the engine of growth in any economy, there were many people in the lecture who looked puzzled, and then when it was explained, we said, that is how important small businesses are to any economy. And that's why, again, I've said that Antoinette Hamilton and Garnet Reid are leading two of the most important organizations in this country, representing people at the macro level who do business and who are responsible for this country chugging right along. Tomorrow is budget day. It starts the budget debate. The finance minister will open the budget, Favour Williams, and I'm trying to get from these two very important people what it is that their members say they want to hear most. And the views you hear expressed, not necessarily theirs alone, is what it is that they have been discussing with their members as they wait for budget day to come. Garnet, you were on the cusp of saying something else before the break.
George, I just want to quickly correction. Yes. I mentioned earlier on we would like the GCT on light bill to reduce. Yeah. It's it's now on resident customer. Yes. So we want to now move on to business customer. Yes. Am I correct, Anthony? Good.
There you go.
Great.
All right.
Quickly, just another point, the banking interest rate.
Yes.
Over these,
we want to come to that because that's Anthony's pet peeve. That's her hobby horse right now.
I know. But over these past weeks and months, of course, the Bank of Jamaica reduced interest rate for a consecutive time. Yeah, to date, the banks have not yet
6 months later, no movement.
I'm hoping, I know there's a lot of negotiation behind the scene, Anthony, and I'm hoping that the minister will have something to say about the bank interest rate.
Yeah, but Anthony, I'm happy Garnet went there because I was going to go there. Mm-hmm. It's a market economy we operate. You understand it very well. So it is more than loathsome for a government to contemplate instructing players in the commercial banking sector after its central bank has acted to say, listen, do this now, reduce the rates that you unlend to your customers or else, because that goes against the principles of how a market economy works. So what are you hoping that the finance minister can do on Tuesday, announce, to bring to a reality that which you have been championing over the past several months, that you want the rates to come down?
Yes, we do agree that it's a free market, and yes, the bank should have some flexibility in what they do and how they operate, but also remember that the bank is a regulated entity. And part of the reason why they are regulated is because credit is what drives economic activity.
For sure.
And so it cannot be left to the banks alone to determine how economic activity flows in the country. And I think that is why they are regulated. We're not saying to force them in the way that that hard forcing. What we're saying, well, the Bank of Jamaica has positioned that they're not in a position to take any further steps, but we believe that the government can do better in terms of their position. One of the things that we believe that can be done is to level the playing field across the banking sector. We would have spoken about the concentration of our taxpayer dollars in the two major banks, spread that out, diversify the portfolio, give the other banks, and through corporate bonds, that can be a form of way that the brokers can also participate, because currently brokers accept funding from the government. They put it on repo, but the repos have to be backed by a government instrument. There's just a few of those, and so they can also look at expanding the type of collateral that brokers can use. So the government, we believe, can do some internal investment policy review to level the playing field, so that there's not this somewhat monopoly as it relates to the interest rates.
We met with the Jamaica Bankers Association of Jamaica, and one of the reasons that the Bank of Jamaica gave is that they cannot reduce interest rate because they have a lot of operation costs.
Yes.
I find that to be very unfortunate, because NCB made $21 billion this year, BNS $11 billion. Come on, banks. Let us go back to the table and help the Jamaican people.
And what is interesting,
reducing interest rates.
What is interesting is that if you look at the performance of the economy, it has declined 2 consecutive quarters. Only the banks are showing growth.
Yes.
How can you have the producing, the goods producing, and the other sectors that are, generating the activity underperforming, and only the banks performing?
Let me ask you this last question before time runs out on us. Very important question. Let me prepare myself for it now. Listen, Garnet Reed, Antoinette Hamilton, are your members paying their taxes?
Some of them.
Why only some?
Some of them pay the taxes.
That's not good enough.
Oh, well, we just, the TOJ, Tax Administration have just put out an amnesty. And dozens of them are encouraged to go out, and I'm going to also take this opportunity to ask for an extension. Because if a member owes $2 million, it's just a percentage of that $2 million they have to find to pay. So by an extension with the amnesty would give them an opportunity to pay more.
Antoinette, your members, are they in good standing with the taxman?
Well,
or the taxwoman in this case?
Well, I wouldn't say that we have a pulse on that kind of data, but the majority of our members have been filing their taxes. Whether they are compliant in terms of paying, I'm not sure about that. But what I would say is that we do have members who are unbanked, not in the formal sector, and that is what we're trying to do by looking at these policies, especially the 2 years tax exemption, to bring those into the formal system so that they can contribute to economic development in a bigger way.
Absolutely so. And the government last year, Clark, in his what was turned out to be his last budget presentation, spoke about the 8 revenue centers across the island that they were improving, investing in making it better, easier for people to pay their taxes, because it is critically important that every individual, every householder, me included, my household, your household, and then the two of you as business people and the leader of business groups, encourage your members to pay what they are due to pay, so that the mayor can keep galloping along. All in all, last question, are you optimistic or pessimistic about the budget debate and what it has in store for you and your members?
Very optimistic about the budget.
Antoinette?
No new taxes.
I will have to be optimistic,
no
but
new
I
taxes.
will say that if we're disappointed, then that is something that we'll have discussion on.
We'll talk about it. Thank you very much for your time.
I think the minister will make an excellent presentation to the people of Jamaica.
All right, I hope so too. Thank you very much. Antoinette Hamilton and Garnet Reed, thank you for your time. Nika Lewis is standing. What is she wearing today? It's a nice blouse. It's a nice shirt, Nika. I really like it. Your pants are solid. Your shirt is really doing it for me. She's standing by with the news at 7. Good evening.
Hey you know all the people in your business?
You should take advantage of CVM TV's unbeatable small business advertising package. Trust me.
And get your goods and services in front of your customers today.
For $150,000, you get a high-quality professional commercial.
Plus 20 prime-time commercial spots.
That's massive exposure at a fraction of the cost.
Including on the #1 morning show in Jamaica, Sunrise.
So don't wait. Call us on 658-208-5377 and see your business goals happen right here on CVM Television.
In a world where innovation meets tradition, agriculture is evolving like never before. From the latest sustainable farming technologies to age-old practices passed down through generation, agriculture is
precious to me.
I love the animals. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I love working.
Join us right here on CVM TV every Sunday during news at 7 as we explore the people, the science, and the breakthroughs that are shaping the way we grow,